Tons of NBA going tonight. We're going to tell you how to bet almost every single game. If you've never seen this show before, we give out winning information. We give it out every day, and today is no different. We have a killer lineup. Marco D'Angelo right off the bat. He's going to tell you how to bet the Michigan State-Michigan game. This is on Fox Television. It'll be highly watched. We know how to bet this game. He's also going to look at the Pistons versus the Spurs. After that, we got Andy Lang joining us with a bunch of prop bets, some in the NBA as well, and maybe we're going to talk some NASCAR. Who knows? Ronald Cabang. He's going to make an appearance. He's going to take apart 3 NBA games, the Knicks and the Cavs, Minnesota and the Rockets, and the Warriors versus the Kings. And of course, we're going to end this show with Gianni The Greek. I'm Lawrence Presman. You're watching WagerTalk Today, the best daily sports betting show on the planet. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to our channel. But before we go anywhere, you want to hear what you missed yesterday? So we had a guy on the show yesterday, really, really handsome, killer hair for 55 years old, and a little bit of a Santa Clausian kind of a beard going, no names. But he came on the show yesterday, and he told you guys, bet the under in the NHL hockey game. He told you guys the NHL hockey game would go to overtime. He told you guys that Canada would win. He told you guys that the exact score would be 3-2. Offhand, that's probably somewhere around plus 2,000. And he, being me, put up a tweet last night showing you guys that I predicted a 3-2 overtime score by Canada. And he tagged
I like Canada
Marco
tonight.
D'Angelo.
I like Canada tonight, and I like under the total. It is too high.
I think we're going to see a low-scoring game. We saw a 3-1 game on Saturday. I think we're going to see a 3-2 game. I would bet 3-2. Yeah. So I tweeted that out. And my partner, the guy who founded WagerTalk with me, did not retweet it. If you give out 4 winning bets in the same game, a game that was so watched by everyone, and your own partner does not retweet you, what do I do to get a tweet out from you, Marco? What? What could I possibly do that is better than 4-0 with, like, what was the 3-2 exact score? Probably plus 700 or something. I don't know. Still nothing. Crickets. 0. Wow.
In Marco's defense, Dan here. In Marco's defense, the tweet was sent at 11:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's
9 p.m. for Marco.
Yeah, Marco's well in bed at 9 p.m. Let's be real, Prez. Come on.
Okay. Well, Prez, first of all, I didn't watch the clip. Okay, the only thing I saw was you saying you had the winner and you had the correct final score, and I'm like, well, okay, you're Canadian, you're going to have Canada, and you said 3-2 on a game that was a championship game that generally are defensive games, and the over-under was 5.5, so 3-2. So I didn't think it was that big of a set. Now, if you would have been 4-1 and called that would have been a different story. But 3-2 in that game, okay, congratulations, sir. I will go back and retweet you today when more people will see it. How about that? That's what I was waiting for prime time today, where people will see it, not in the middle of the night.
You
Eastern time.
couldn't just say that. You had to say, oh, Prez, giving out 4 winners in the same game. Ho hum. Oh. So I'm gonna. So if I scroll down, I will see you tweeting out that it'll be 3-2 in overtime.
Yeah, I will retweet you the minute I get off the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to know what's worse, Marco? In Michigan, -2.5 For the one Michigan team, the total 150.5. Marco D'Angelo. The Michigan that doesn't have State at the end of it is on a freaking roll right now. They've won 6 in a row. This is a short number. Are we going with the favorite?
Well, we've seen the money come in early, Prez, to the dog here, Michigan State. This thing, the overnight line, first line out on the board last night was Michigan 3.5. And we've seen that number come down steadily. Even though Michigan is 12-0 straight up at home this year. But if you look, yeah, they've been running off wins, but they've all been close wins. They're not running away from the opposition. Michigan State is the better defensive team. They've held 10 of their last 17 opponents to 39% shooting or less from the field. And you've heard me say it on shows 100 times. Give me the better defensive team getting points, and I am usually going to line up there. And if you put the gun to my head in this game, I probably would lean to Michigan State. But I feel the better play in this game is a little angle I found with these two teams. Michigan State, since 2023, when they are a road underdog, first half, if you just bet them over the total first half, they're 10-3 since 2023. Okay, not bad, not a real big sample size, but 10-3 to the over. How about this for Michigan? The same sample size since 2023. If you bet Michigan first half to go over at home, or all games, home or away, they're 32-12. But if you bet them, if they're coming off a first half at home and are coming off a win, that number's 18-2, Prez, to the over. I'm going to take this game tonight. Michigan, if they want to beat Michigan State, want to go up tempo. They don't want to play a half-court game with Michigan State in the way they play defense. They want to try to get them out of their comfort zone. And the home team generally is the team that can dictate the tempo, and that also plays towards the over in this game. So that's where I'm going to go. We're looking at an over-under of 71 in the first half. So let's go ahead and take Michigan State first half over 71.
There we go. First half bet for Marco D'Angelo. And guys, Marco has been absolutely dominant, rolling. I even tweeted him out recently, reposted a tweet of his. Yes, I did. That's a thing that partners do for each other, especially when he's doing as good as he is. Marco, some NBA talk. We got the Detroit Pistons playing San Antonio. Well, Wemby's out, and that's reflected in the line. Detroit -3.5, a total of 235.5. And well, kudos to this Detroit Pistons team. Definitely a better season than expected. And San Antonio, they've got to be a fade team moving forward. How are you betting this game?
Well, Prez, that line was 3.5. We're looking at 4.5 now on this game, and that's where how I'm gonna analyze this game. Obviously, as you said, Wemby's out for the season. That was announced yesterday. What did San Antonio do? First game off an injury. How many times we talk about it? The old injured player theory. They go out and win last night without him. And I talk about the injured player theory so often. It's an angle I use a lot, and there's a second part of that angle. And normally when they win the first game, you go against them in the second game because they don't have that same intensity from the first game. But I'm going to put an asterisk up tonight, and this is the reason why. This is a unique situation that we have tonight with the Spurs. Because they played last night and coming right back and playing again tonight, and everybody figuring, this team, they're going to be a play against because Detroit's rested. They didn't play last night. The Spurs did. They're without star player. We expect them to regress now. And the market has over-adjusted. It's 4.5. Tell me in what planet the Pistons deserve to be a 4.5-point favorite on the road. Here's the situation. The fact that they played last night and play tonight, I think, is an advantage because they didn't travel. They played at home. So they're back-to-back. fatigue should not be a factor playing back-to-back nights when you're just coming off the All-Star break. You've had several days off prior up to this, so you're not fatigued for traveling. And then for the flip side, the Pistons, this is their first game. They don't have a game under their belt. They haven't played in a week. And yes, they've got a 4-game winning streak. Did you look at that 4-game winning streak? They beat, before the All-Star break, Philadelphia, Charlotte, and Chicago twice. Those are 3 of the worst teams in the NBA that have a combined record, Prez, of 56-109. No, I'm not going to look at that. I'm not going to buy into the Pistons. In the Spurs, last 13 games, they're 5-8 straight up. Nothing to write home about. But when you think about 9 of those games were on the road, including 2 of them in Paris. Remember, they played 2 games with Indiana before the All-Star break, about a week before the All-Star break. And then they played 6 games in 10 days, all on the road, because it was the annual rodeo road trip. Remember, every year the rodeo comes in to San Antonio for like a 10, 11-day period, and they don't have access to their building. They got to play all those road games in a row. So the Spurs really at 5-8, better than their record indicates. I know they're without their star, but I like them in tonight's spot. Give me San Antonio plus the points. Make it 2 in a row. I wouldn't even mind a little sprinkle on it.
I'm still stuck just thinking about the rodeo, bro. I don't understand the rodeo. How is the rodeo still? How is it still a thing, dude? How is it still a thing?
That is one of the biggest draws in Vegas every year.
I know.
First week in December.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, there's so many people come to town. You wouldn't believe it. And they spend money, Prez. They spend money during that.
Dude, it is. Firstly, the women are so hot with their cowboy hats. I'm such a fan of the women in their cowboy hats. Secondly, for all you males out there who partake in the rodeo, you don't need to wear jeans that are 3 sizes too small. Nobody is interested in your ball sack. Nobody cares if you hang to the right or the left. We're not interested. We don't need to see the outline. It's okay. Try track pants sometimes. Although with that said, Wrangler is still thrilled that they exist because of the rodeo. Don't understand the rodeo. Totally separate topic. But hey, if you want to ride a bull that doesn't want to be ridden, kudos to you. Marco, I said you're not going to get to promote today, and I mean that. So I will promote for you. It is with great regret and yet a ton of pride that I say that Marco continues to win. Every bloody week, this guy comes on the show, and all he does is win. In his last 22 days, he is 31-13. He is up $4,500 of profit for his $100 bettors. He is killing it in the NBA. He is killing it in college basketball. He has done this 3 straight years in both college and the NBA. This is not new. We got a promo for you. Get 10 days for the price of 7. 10 days for the price of 7. It's only $99. Please take advantage of that promo. Anything else, Marco?
Yeah, and Prez, if you want to save even more, we got a special deal. It's my VIP championship all access through June 30th. That'll get you the NBA playoffs, the hockey playoffs. It'll get you the start of the baseball season, the rest of the college basketball season. You get every play I have through June 30th for just $799. That brings your cost down to the lowest point that you can do it. It's been an incredible run. Thanks for the promo, Prez. It's just one of those things that I keep knocking on wood because it's been going
crazy
on for a while. So thank you.
It's unbelievable. Congratulations. Fran Samatachi. Fran, thank you for joining us in the chat room. I've never seen your name before. She, I'm assuming, writes, Prez, you're just a fan of women. That is 100% correct, Fran. I am a fan of, I love them in cowboy hats, but I love them with no hats. I love them dressed. I love them undressed. I love women. I agree. And the craziest part about it is the older I get, the larger group of women I like. I used to be super picky. I was like, she's not hot. I don't want her. Now it's like, she's a woman. Good enough for me. Marco, should we get into some hockey talk?
We should. Second half of the season is underway, and a great game last night. And, again, kudos on that outstanding 3-2 call. But, Prez, one of the things I've had success with hockey, and one of the reasons is I don't make plays every day, okay? It's not one of my primary sports, but when you're an all-access guy, you will get spot plays from me. And this particular year, I've only made 20 hockey plays, but I'm 15-5. And if you go back since 2021 in hockey, our record's 177 and 119 for a profit of 77.5 units. What do I do that makes me successful in hockey? As I said, it's spot plays looking for certain situations. I like things like when teams come off of long road trips. You can get value because everybody assumes, they returned home from that road trip. Hockey is a physical sport, and these guys play games when they go on these road trips. A lot of times they're playing 3 games in 4 days or 3 games in 5 days. It's taxing on them. Then when they come home, you automatically expect them to bounce back at home or whatever. There's a lot of value in taking dogs in those situations. Another spot that I got to tell people to look at is find your good teams off of bad performances. Okay?
Yes.
Because you're going to get good situation, good performances, focused efforts from them. And one thing that people just don't do their homework enough on is the goalies. And it's obvious, it sounds so simple, but most of the teams, there's always a difference between 1 and 1A as far as the goalies go, okay? But some teams, it's a bigger gap. And I'm going to give you an example, okay? And this is a spot where they started the season out where they were going to split time. And because of the performance, they're not splitting time anymore. And I'm going to talk, that's the Washington Capitals. Logan Thompson was signed this year, former Las Vegas Golden Knight. He wanted to be a starter. He wasn't going to be a starter here in Vegas, and they traded him. They gave him what he asked for. He split time at the beginning of the season, but he has totally outperformed Lindgren, and he has taken over the number 1 job. Why? He's 24-6 when he's in net. The other goalie, 12-13. That is a huge difference. And people look at it, and I know the goalies, the line will be adjusted. So don't tell me it's built into the line. I know it is, but sometimes it's just not built into it enough. And the problem with hockey is they don't always put who's starting up early in the day. So you got a number early in the morning where you're guessing who the starter's going to be until it's official. And if you watch the patterns of the teams, you generally can figure out based on how many games they're playing in certain days when you can attack and get a better number looking for it to happen before it happens.
Marco D'Angelo, if that's the problem with hockey, not knowing who's going to start in goal, the problem with the NBA must be cataclysmic.
Yeah, it is. And hockey players the most physical sport on the planet is hockey. And do you ever see anybody taken off?
Third most physical sport.
Okay, who's
third?
Who's in front of them?
I'll put the actual physical sports aside. Boxing, Taekwondo, UFC. Okay. So put those aside.
Of the major three. Of the major three.
Oh, of the major 3, right? Because cricket doesn't count in there. Aussie rules football, and rugby are tougher than hockey, in my humble opinion. Did I mention I really like girls, women? Yes. Now leave. Go.
You did, but I'm still trying to get away from the fact that you noticed the Cowboys tight jeans, and you noticed it from the front. That's really
I do.
disturbing.
Yes,
very disturbing.
It took you a.
I'll leave on that note.
It took you a while to get there, Marco, but yes, it's impossible not to notice. Andy Lang joining us. Andy, thanks for the tweet last night, brother. Lots of love. Lots of love.
Anytime. You got it.
Yes. Anything to add so far to the show? You enjoy the rodeo?
Every year they come to Indianapolis and it's sold out. It's amazing. It's amazing. What a cash cow. Pun intended there. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. Every year. I used to go when I was a kid. I haven't gone in a while, but it's just a big moneymaker.
So it's a moneymaker to somebody, because the number one bull riding prize in the world is $1 million. $1 million for the world championship of bull riding. So someone is making money. It ain't the athletes.
It's not the bull riders.
No.
It's not the bull riders. No.
And if you don't think I know rodeo, I know rodeo, bro. I watched a bull riding documentary on Netflix. I did not realize what I was getting into, and I watched it on an airplane next to two people, and it went something like this. I swear to God, I'm like on the airplane. They're like trying to relax. I'm like, ah! Oh my God! Holy shit! That's what went down for like 8 episodes. I was jumping out of my chair, bro.
They've missed a golden opportunity. Why is there not fantasy rodeo leagues where you pick the bulls and not the riders?
Yeah,
I would be in to follow the bulls and not necessarily the riders. I don't know why this doesn't exist. Maybe it does exist, and I'm not aware of it. But I've always wondered.
Well,
I would totally be in a fantasy league with the bulls.
yeah. I don't know if it is a thing or not a thing. Anyway, Andy Lang joining us. Andy, you've got the fade the baby bet. Tell us. This is like a thing, because this is the third
Yes.
third time we've had fade the baby theory on this show.
Yes. All right. We're going to go fade the baby theory. We're going to UFC. We're going to take Anthony Fluffy Hernandez over Brendan Allen. However, it's like minus 300. So we're going to take Hernandez by decision, and we're going to fade the baby here. So here's the deal. Brendan Allen just had a baby in late December. So we're within 2 months here. It's not a super strong fade the baby, because he and his wife have had a couple babies before. It's not like his first baby, but it's still a baby. He also dyed his hair blonde. There's a fade the haircut theory. So we got red flags all over the place. Listen, Hernandez has just relentless pressure and cardio. Like he's like Marab, who has just weaponized cardio. He has an incredible ground game. Brendan Allen struggles with cardio. So that is a nightmare for Brendan Allen. We saw him get tired in his last fight against Imavov, and he started to get tired in the second round. Now Hernandez can get hurt early in the fights. He gets hit, and it just seems to wake him up. Brendan Allen is not this dynamic striker that can knock out Hernandez. So Hernandez gets woken up with some of these shots, and then he just has been steamrolling these guys. Here's the other thing, Prez, why I like this by decision. These guys are they're friends. And when we see this in UFC, these guys that are friends and training partners and they're rooting for each other, they don't want to finish each other. They don't want to blast the other guy's face wide open, and they don't want to choke the guy out. I've seen tons of these fights where you have these training partners and the fight just goes to decision. You're getting plus money on this. You get a fade the baby theory. You get two guys that are friends. You get a guy who's got relentless cardio and a guy that struggles with cardio. To me, plus money on Hernandez by decision is a fantastic play.
There we go. Andy Lang joining us, everyone. A fantastic handicapper. Andy, you've got a prop bet for us in the NBA and one in golf. Go through them both, please.
All right, my NBA read. We talked about this, Prez, how this All-Star break came at a terrible time. I was on a roll, and I have not liked my reads. So we'll try Bam Adebayo over 17.5 points and see if this trend continues. Before the All-Star break, he went over 8 games in a row. He was attempting 16 field goal attempts. He's making over 8 shots a game, add in a couple free throws. He had 21 points last game against Toronto, and Toronto's down to skeleton crew on the front court. They got Bogbo and Barnes as their front court. Not great defenders. So I like Bam Adebayo to go over 17.5 points. However, I will say this. If this play is off, then that means my reads coming out of the All-Star break are off, and I'm going to take a few days off to try and kind of reset and get these trends. It's okay to take some of these days off if you're on a hot streak, something disrupts the hot streak. So I will be monitoring NBA. What's been good is golf. We gave out a nice golf winner yesterday, and we're going to go back to golf. We're going to go Harry Hall under 68.5 round 2 score. That starts here in about an hour and 20 minutes. He shot 64 yesterday. And here's the thing, Prez. I didn't even think he played that great. He was 70th in the field in putting, and he was tied for the lead. He hit 10 out of 13 fairways, 13 out of 18 greens in regulation. No bogeys, though. His bogey avoidance was great. The wind is not going to get more than 15 miles an hour. I think he has another good day. We only need him to get 3 under. So I'll take Harry Hall under 68.5 on his round 2 score. I have to point something out to your Prez here for your hockey prediction from last night.
Yes.
I would like to read Prez's official plays that he sent out to clients yesterday. The Celtics and 76ers, Cavaliers and Nets, Central Arkansas, West Georgia, Loyola Marymount, and Santa Clara. You were so confident about the hockey play that you didn't even release it. You can't take credit for a play that you didn't even release to clients here. If you were that confident, you go in the portal, you put the play in, and you call your own shot. Just poking a little hole in that there.
Guys, this is Andy Lang's final visit on WagerTalk Today. He will no longer be on the show. It was a fun ride for Andy. We'll do.
All good things must come to an end.
All good things must come to an end. Yeah, Andy, I told everybody at the beginning that I wasn't going to be releasing bets on the Four Nations Cup. And yeah, I'm with you. I get it. My clients didn't get to bet it, but everybody else did. And I'm going to brag. So you can never come on this show and talk about a bet you gave out on this show unless you released it to your clients. Is that correct?
No, it's a complete hypocrisy and double standard. I'm going to brag all the time about bets I give out on the show. Like, come on, you know how this works.
Got it. Fair enough. Andy, what do you got to promote?
We got good UFC plays that are up for tomorrow. We've got a lacrosse play that starts in 30 minutes. We've got another lacrosse play that starts later tonight. And 7-day pass, you get 3 days free. This is just what a perfect time of year to build the bankroll. This is where we do all of our damage. Tennis is on an insane run. Golf has been really, really good. And these are the sports that we've used over the years to build bankrolls. It's not, huge NFL plays and college football plays. It's these sports. These are our bread and butter. So we can introduce you to the worlds of some of these sports that are just off the beaten path. They're off your radar. Take advantage of it. When we give out a 7-day pass and you get 3 days free added onto it, it's a $70 value. So right there, you're getting more value on that. Take advantage of that. WT.buzz/AL.
Boom. Andy Lang, everyone. Lots of shows still to come. Ronald Cabang got 3 NBA bets, Gianni the Greek. And between them, I'm going to give you guys a bet on every single NHL game tomorrow. That's right. There's like 12 of them or something. I will race down them all. Ronald Cabang joining us. Ronald, have you enjoyed the show so far?
Oh, man, I'm having a blast. It's been a while since I've been on, too, so I miss it. I miss this.
Well, listen, we love having you on, so thanks for doing that. I hear, just like Dan, you noticed that I Dr. Seuss'd my women. Thank you for that. I wish they were my women, but alas, they're not. We're only allowed one, and one is all we shall have. Let's get into some betting, bro. The New York Knickerbockers, plus money against Cleveland. Big total, 241.5, give or take. And rightfully so. I mean, the New York Knicks, 32-23 to the over. Cleveland, one of the best over teams in the league this year, 36-19. Strangely, 36-19 ATS as well. Ronald, how do we bet this basketball game?
Yeah, both teams here on the second leg of back-to-back games. New York coming off that OT win over the Bulls as double-digit favorites, and then now you see them as heavy dogs on the road here. Cavs coming off an easy win over the Nets yesterday. I think from a roster perspective, you look at the Knicks. OG and Hart missed yesterday's game. I'm assuming they played this one out, or that's how I handicapped this one. But these are two of the most efficient offenses in the league right now on the season. The Cavs are number 1 in offensive rating. The Knicks number 2. As far as pace goes, the Cavs 6th in pace. So it's easy to see why the total is as high as it is right now. But the gap to me is on the defensive side of the ball. The Cavs are playing much better defense than the Knicks this season. If you look at the Knicks, they're really struggling against the three ball. That's specifically what the Cavs really thrive in. And the Cavs also very efficient in the paint. And that's another spot that the Knicks really struggle to defend, especially without, Mitchell Robinson there. With that said, the Cavs have been one of the best ATS teams in the season, in the NBA this season. You called out those numbers. And if you look at the Knicks side, on the second leg of back-to-back games, 1-6-1 ATS, and a league-wide trend that also points to the Cavs side since 2018. Teams coming off an OT win and are on the second leg of back-to-back games, they tend to struggle ATS. 59, 82, and 5 ATS, 41.8%. So it's a fade spot of the Knicks. Looking towards the Cavs, and also look towards the Cavs team total over as well. They've been a strong team total over team in the NBA.
Ronald Cabang joining us. Ronald, I want to address something that W.M. Monist wrote in the chat room, and feel free to join me here because this is important. He writes, I'm a big fan of the show and the channel, and for that, thank you, my brother. I see your name all the time. I'm really appreciative of that. But he has a problem with our Tuesday discounted picks. He says that if one of our handicappers has a 4% or a 5%, it's not really a 4% or a 5%. It's that we're trying to take advantage of the fact that we're going to make a lot more sales on Tuesday. Therefore, we push and perhaps elevate what should have been a 3% to a 4 or a 5. Absolutely incorrect from my perspective. I am not going to speak on behalf of every handicapper, but there is never a time ever where I release a 4% that isn't a 4%. I can tell you that 90% of my plays are 3% plays. When I release a 4, it is a legitimate 4. When I release a 5, it is a legitimate 5. I'm one of the owners of WagerTalk, and I can tell you that if I knew handicappers were elevating plays just to take advantage of sales, they would be immediately fired. Immediately. So I don't believe any handicapper is doing that, although I have no proof, but I can tell you unequivocally I'm not. Ronald?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's an opportunity for us to showcase our abilities, our handicapping abilities. You'll be able to see how we cap games, how we analyze the games. I think we put our best work on those $5 plays, right? Just because we want to capture your guys' attention. Me personally, since we started doing the $5 Tuesday plays, 18-5. So it's not like we're giving crap out on these $5 Tuesday plays. I'm giving my best work so that I can capture you guys' attention. And that, to me, that's how I go about that. It's really, I'm one of the newer guys at WagerTalk as far as longevity. But for me, for me to get your guys' business or whatever you guys want to call it, or show that or prove that I'm one of the better handicappers at WagerTalk, I have to do that on Tuesdays. I have to be able to, 80%, right? Like you don't really see that too often. And so those $5 Tuesday plays, they're definitely some of my best work.
Well freaking said, Ronald. That was brilliant. Guys, we are going to run this show late, so no worries. Gianni's still to come. Hit that like button if you don't mind. Greatly appreciated. Ronald, Houston playing Minnesota tonight. What a surprise season by Houston. That's for sure. Minnesota right where they're supposed to be. This game has got a low total, 218 and a half. Houston is favored. How are we betting this?
Yeah, this is actually the first game of for both teams after the All-Star break. Gobert, Edwards, Conley, they're all questionable, I believe. Already Randall and DiVincenzo out for Minnesota. To me, I mean, the total, I think, moving up and going towards Minnesota is telling me that someone is probably going to play out of those three or a combination of those guys. And if you look at the Rocket side, they will be without Van Vliet, but Jabari Smith will be back, I believe. It'll be his first game back since January 1st. If you look at the Wolves, they're not really a great ATS team this season. The Rockets on the first leg of back-to-back games, they're actually really solid, 10-2 straight up, 8-4 ATS. One of the biggest things I noticed with the Wolves team is that their defense continues to be overrated. On the season, opponents are actually 33-21-1 to their team total over when facing the Timberwolves. On the Rockets side, as home favorites against conference opponents, they take those games pretty seriously. They're actually 11-3 to their team total over, averaging 116.4 points per game. And then their average full game margin in those 14 games, plus 9.8. Rockets, to me, I think they've actually gone over their team total in 4 straight games as well against the Timberwolves in the last 4 matchups between the two teams. So one way that I was looking at this was the Rockets team total over 110.5.
There we go. Rockets team total over. Golden State, Sacramento. How are you betting this one?
For these two teams, this is also their first game back off the break. To me, I don't really trust either defense. In the last 10 games prior to the break, the Kings, they were really struggling defensively. They had the 25th defensive rating, giving up 120.9 points per game. If you look at the Warriors side, they were giving up 114.3 in the last 10 games. And that was against some struggling offenses, too. If you look at the teams that they were facing, majority of them were bottom half of the league in offensive rating during that period. To me, this looks like an over type game, and Washington, the Warriors seem like they aren't putting up great offensive numbers, but they were playing against some really slow-paced teams prior to the break, and also some teams that are pretty solid defensively. So the Kings, on the other hand, they've gotten some time to figure out the offense and their new rotation. I think their offense is going to start to flow in the second half of the season, but that doesn't necessarily mean their defense is going to get any better. If you look at the last 17 games for the Kings, opponents are 13-4 to their team total over. I know the Warriors, they're not shooting lights out from 3 right now. They're not that efficient, but the Kings are one of the worst 3-point defenses in the league this season. So if there was any game that the Warriors would be able to get back on track from 3, I think it would be this one. I would look towards the over or the Warriors team totals over specifically. That would be at 119, I believe.
Ronald Cabang. Guys, Ronald and Ski Profit do an amazing show every night. It's so good. It gets a ton of great response. It's called, oh my God, I've gone blank. Ahead of the spread. Ahead of the spread. It's called Ahead of the Spread. It's a fun show, Ronald. You guys laugh a lot. One night I should join you and the 3 of us should just get high and talk basketball. Anyway, we got a promo for these guys. It's a buy one, get one promo, the BOGO NBA season pass, $475. You get both Ronald and Ski. They are incredible in the NBA. This is a package worth buying. Congratulations on the show, Ronald. It really is an exceptional show. So keep it up. Thank you for all the hard work you do at WagerTalk. That's it. Ronald Cabang, everyone. Get that promo, him and Ski in the NBA. No coupon code required, $475. Okay, we still got Gianni The Greek coming. We're going to run this show late. I'm going to give you guys a bet on every single NHL game on the board. I'm going to try to do this moving forward every single day. There's going to be no analysis because it's just going to be 1, 2, 3, quick. Before we get into that, I have a 3% NHL moneyline bet up tomorrow. I'm coming into tomorrow's NHL on a 26-13 NHL run. I'm up double-digit profits on the NHL season. My NHL moneyline bets are 64% in the last 2 years, 2 regular season years. This is a big play tomorrow. I absolutely love it. These NHL moneyline bets are rare. Head over to WagerTalk and take advantage of that. Okay, Let's go. Detroit playing Minnesota. I like Detroit minus 110. Edmonton playing Philadelphia. I like Edmonton in regulation. Pittsburgh against Washington. In this game, I like the over in the Pittsburgh-Washington game. New York Rangers against Buffalo. I like the New York Rangers here. We go on to Dallas and New Jersey. This is a real tough one for me. I lean on the over, but I really don't like this game. Colorado, short price against Nashville. I still don't like it. Nathan McKinnon coming into this game, leading Colorado off of a big game last night. Bad spot for Colorado. I prefer Nashville as a slight underdog. Florida against Seattle. Matthew Tkachuk likely won't play. Barkov coming off of this tournament. If you're ever going to take a big dog, it's in this game. Seattle plus 210. Boston against Anaheim. I like Anaheim here as well. Boston's a fade team moving forward, plus 170. Winnipeg against St. Louis. I lean on St. Louis here. Connor coming off of a tough loss last night. It'll be emotional letdown spot for Winnipeg. Take St. Louis at plus 120. I like Ottawa in regulation against Montreal. I like Columbus in regulation against Chicago. I like the under in the Carolina-Toronto game. I like the Kings in regulation, and I like Vancouver as a live plus 135 dog against the Vegas Golden Knights. Gianni The Greek joining us. How are you, my friend?
Never better, brother. On fire, coming off a nice 6-1 last night. Hit the 4%, just fired a 5% that's in the system for UFC tomorrow, coming off a 5% winner last week in UFC. I didn't even have a package up till today, Prez, in the UFC. I've been digging into that card, finally found a bomb worthy, and a couple more plays will be added for sure. But yeah, really excited.
Well, at 100 miles an hour, Andy Lang is using the fade the baby theory. He likes Anthony Hernandez over Brendan Allen by decision. Are you with them there or no?
Yeah, it makes sense. It does make sense. I haven't bet that one, but it makes sense. I mean, Brendan Allen's a tough out, but I'd go that way or pass. Yeah, I can't disagree with it at all. I think he's got it on the right side. Hernandez.
Yesterday, Kyle Anthony was on the show. He liked Song plus 130 and Feely plus 100. Any thoughts on those two?
I don't like Feely. I think he should be a bigger dog in this fight, to be honest with you, against Costa. Costa's just so tough. I do like Song. I do think he's a live dog against Cejudo. I mean, forgive me. What did he give you? Song what?
Yeah, Song plus 130. Song Yadong, the best name in sports.
It has to be. And let me look at that Brendan Allen one real quick because I saw something move on there. Yeah, here's the only thing that worries me about the Brendan Allen is that it's so one-sided. I mean, everybody
money-wise, yeah.
Yeah, it's so one-sided when I look now at the back end, and like I'm not seeing the respect you would expect when it's that much money. That always worries me, especially since we've seen dogs doing well. I mean, it opened at about 290. And it's now sitting only about 315. And when it got up to as high as 325, there was some buyback. But again, a 3-1 favorite should win the fight. They expect the market says it should win 2 out of 3 times. I wouldn't lay 3-1 in that spot against a tough out like Brendan Allen. As far as Song Yadong, I guess he's betting it in a prop because he's up to like a minus 265. So it's got to be by method of victory.
No, by points.
Yeah, by decision. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. That's how I would bet it. So Cejudo's tough to finish. Yeah, that's how I would bet it as well. Getting a 3-1 favorite to win by decision at plus money, I like Kyle Anthony's bet. In fact, I'm going to look into that myself because I like betting over 3.5s and over 4.5s. Usually recreational bettors love to bet those unders because they want to see finishes. They want to see knockouts. But here's what I'll tell you. Over the last 10 years, if you've done nothing else, Prez, but just looked on the board and the day of the fight, 15 minutes before the fights, because you want to do it against the closing line, and you bet every over 3.5 and every over 4.5, you'd have a double-digit return on investment over over a 10%. One, I think, is like 17%. I don't know if it's 3.5 or 4.5. I don't want to be misquoted, but I promise you both are over double digits return ROI over the last decade plus, because it's so shaded towards unders. Kind of like we talk about in main sports, like the NFL used to be shaded so much towards the over. That's all people bet. They bet the over. So by betting the unders for a long time, you had positive ROI. Now it's become a more efficient market. Bettors are sharper. It's a market that's been around for a lot longer. So it's not as one-sided as back in the day, but there was a time, and that's like it is right now in MMA. It's a relatively newer market compared to NBA, MLB, NFL, college sports. And it's still really shaded towards unders, because that's what the recreational bettors love to bet. Again, they want to see finishes.
Procedure.
They want to see finishes. I like that. I like it.
Standard procedure in betting unders and dogs. Yeah, I think it's 51-49 in the NFL to the under. I don't. But so that is correct. Okay, so we got a few more minutes left with you, my brother, and we've got a huge NBA slate tonight. Let's start there.
Yeah, I haven't bet anything so far for any of these groups in NBA, and they really haven't been doing all that much. But here's what I can tell you. We did bet 2 props. One in the New Orleans-Dallas game, where we went with P.J. Washington Jr. over 2.5 assists, up to minus 115, 120. It'll take them up to 120, over 2.5 assists, P.J. Washington Jr. And then here goes another assist, Memphis-Orlando. Desmond Bane under 4.5 at plus money. 4.5 assists. If you could get plus money, that's what they wanted to take. And it's Desmond Bane under 4.5 assists, and then PJ Washington Jr. over 2.5 assists. So those are 2 props in the NBA. What I am seeing in the back end, one-sided action, one-sided recreational bettor action on the Pistons, all over the Pistons. They're betting the Pistons blindly. They're betting the Rockets blindly. And I've seen some money coming in on the T-Wolves for sure, because that line's dropped. And finally, the last game on the board, which obviously it shows because the line reflects it, the Warriors. So those are one-sided games. Pistons, Rockets, and Warriors. The books will be hoping all 3 of those don't come in, because they're being parlayed together. They're being money line parlayed together, and they're being bet straight. So yeah, that's what's going on in the NBA. I think as coming back off the break, they get in a little further, we'll start seeing more NBA action. But right now, the guys I'm working with, they're all focused on college basketball, awaiting conference tournaments, awaiting March Madness, and more importantly, preparing for Major League Baseball. That's their sport. Like, believe it or not, if you ask any of those groups that bet multiple markets, if they have to pick one sport and they can't bet anyone else, every single one of them would say Major League Baseball, without a doubt. That's been the most profitable sport for them over the last 20 plus years that I've moved steam because of the opportunities. It's every single day. The books only have so many hours to put up overnight lines. There's so many games. They play 162 games. So the data, they have a big sample size of data, unlike football. I mean, by the second week of baseball, it's an entire football season's over. So by the midway mark, by the All-Star break, they have such a big sample size of data that they trust it more, as opposed to those sports with smaller schedules where, you know, the long term, when are you going to get it? By week 10, you have a couple more weeks. So that's the difference. And that's why baseball, I already got, the reason I say that is because last night I had one of the guys I work with hit me up. He's like, dude, you got to send me more baseball accounts. I got more groups, guys that he's working with, total guys, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So they're really looking forward to betting baseball more than anything else. And of course, college buckets. I do have
Gianni. Yeah, let's go. College and NHL.
Yeah, I do have college basketball. Green Bay plus 15. That's 877. Green Bay plus the 15. 885. Michigan on the money line, up to minus 110. And then 2 totals for you. The earliest game, 851, under 158. Bowling Green, Toledo. And then 883, forgive me, over 143.5, Sacred Heart and Merrimack. I do expect, it's early. Again, I expect a lot more college basketball to come in because yesterday I had so much volume. So they're hitting sides, they're hitting totals. But so far this early, limited board, That's what I got. And of course, the Saturday stuff will start coming in this evening because they do bet a lot of overnights as well.
Gianni, we still got a few more minutes. I do want to talk about something off topic, but before we get into that, your Steam room, I think it's free tomorrow, if I'm not.
Tomorrow, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So tell us what's tell us.
We will go over every college basketball game from 12 p.m. Eastern all the way through. We'll be there for at least 2 hours. Again, going through the college basketball, going through the UFC card that doesn't start until 3 p.m. Pacific time, our time, 6 p.m. Eastern. So we'll have plenty of time to dig into that. All the stuff that comes in while I'm doing it. So there's second half, there's props. As I shared a couple of college basketball props, they're starting to mingle a little bit more in those. And of course, we'll go over year-to-date results, which are positive. We'll go over last 7 days, last 30 days, which are positive. And again, the money management approach that I use. And finally, I will iron down the blackjack seminar because I've already beta tested it. We're pretty much done with Gianni. We have the platform I'm doing it on. I have the whole outline that's going to be shared. And yeah, they're going to be excited for that because I got some things to share tomorrow in the Steam room. So join us. Have your leans already circled. It's a big board. So have your leans already circled. I'll help you confirm them. Let's stay hot. Let's make some money. Coming off again. I tell you when I win, tell you when I lose. Only the second losing year in the last 10. So all the pressure's on, and I absolutely love it. So far, so good. The damage will continue ahead.
There we go. Gianni the Greek. Gianni, stay with us. So what I want to talk about real quick is me and you, we're two old guys. That is what it is. We literally all age at the exact same time, 1 second at a time. We just happen to be born a long time ago.
Yep.
Yeah. Gianni, our industry and our company is in great hands. I want to point out a couple of shows. We spoke about Against the Spread, Ronald Cabang and Ski Profit. They are doing an NBA show every night. I don't know if you've had the chance to listen to the show. It is exceptional. They are so funny. They are so entertaining. The show is so informative. Tons of betting information. It is a really, really, really great show. And it's so great to see these young guys come out and put a show like that together. We have another show. I honestly listened to 2 of them last night, and they were old. Dude, you want to talk about a great show? I'm listening to a sports betting show from 2 weeks ago, and I can't stop listening. And that's The Morning Wager with Brian Power and Mark Zeno. It is exceptional. The 2 of them have so much fun. Mark Zeno with his Teddy routine of being angry, annoyed, and frustrated. Brian Power keeping him calm. A spectacular show. So I want to shout out all 4 of those guys.
I'm gonna check them out.
Ronald, Ski, Brian, and Mark. Your work is appreciated. It does not go unnoticed, and it is truly exceptional. So thank you. Gianni, watch those shows. They are really fun.
For sure.
Really fun. What do you got to promote, bro?
Like I said, the 5%'s already up. The package just went up. Should have the college basketball package up within the next 60 minutes. Deciding whether to fire it as a 3% or 4%. I've been very, very selective with those 4%. Like I said, yesterday I had 6 bets. Only one of them qualified as a 4%. It got there. I got one tonight that I think we're going to do the same with. So that, and then of course, Saturday college basketball. I'll try to get that package up as soon as possible because we got such a big board, man. Again, I'm excited. I'm hoping to have 2. Again, I haven't fired, I don't think, a college basketball 5% yet, but it's about time because now we're really getting hot and I'm seeing the leans that I'm circling. They're coming in on, and that gives me more confidence than anything. So I'm hoping to be able to fire 2 of them tomorrow. Because, yeah, it's a prime time to get out ahead, build that bankroll for what's coming up. As you can hear, the workmen are in the back.
That's the show, everyone. Shout out to all my guests, Marco, Ronald, Andy, Gianni, on behalf of Dan Alexander and myself. Let's have a great weekend winning. We'll see you all on Monday.